Growing concerns tonight about voter fraud in the upcoming presidential election. As we've reported to you here tonight, a Pew Research report shows that 1 in 8 voter registration in this country are, quote, significantly inaccurate or no longer valid. 1 in 8. That amounts to 18 million people. Also, another 4 million people ineligible or dead voters on the rolls. And joining me now, former Reagan White House political director, Republican strategist, Great America PAC strategist, Ed Rollins. Ed, good to have you with us tonight. Let me. You have handled a lot of campaigns and worked a lot of elections. These numbers, when Donald Trump says the election is rigged, that's an understatement, it appears to me, when I look at the Pew Research numbers, 4 million dead or invalid registrations?
Well, there's no question you need to basically somehow have a system that purges people after they pass on. But it's a very difficult task. And I think what's very important here, Lou, is not to basically to make I'm having a hard time with the word here, to make this election, which I think in most cases is very honest and very decent. And secretaries of state and county clerks and everybody else worries about the very thing you're talking about. So you can't argue that because there's 4 million people who are dead, there's no evidence that 4 million people vote, and half of them may be Republicans. You don't know who's dead or who's not dead. So you basically have to scrutinize. So don't legitimize this election by arguing. We've had 56 elections in the history of our country since 1789. And I would hate for people to walk.
No, Ed, I've got to take exception to that.
Take exception. We'll take exception. We'll argue it out.
Wait a minute.
Show me evidence of where this is occurring.
Here's where I want to. You want to explain the 18 million people, 4 million dead? I'm talking about right now a federal program with $30 million behind it to register people who have just crossed the border from Mexico, for crying out loud. Ed, we've got to take this seriously. We cannot sit there.
I'm not arguing about not taking it seriously, but I'm also arguing about, there's no evidence at this point in time. There's a $30 million program. There's no argument at this. No one can walk in. No one's voted yet, or at least they have. It's by absentee ballot. Walk in and say, you're not going to stop it in advance. And what you have to do is the two parties have to basically go protect their vote, and they do. And secretaries of state.
Here, let me also add a couple of things, if I may.
Sure.
For your consideration. One is the Department of Homeland Security wants to take responsibility for these elections, wants to be, if you will, supervising them because of the external threats when there appear to be as many internal threats to these elections. I have great faith in secretaries of state and volunteers all over the country. But the honor system in this country and its electoral system is no longer valid. We have moved way beyond that, and I'm afraid, given electronic voting, all of the issues that we've got an immense problem here, Ed. But none of this did I want to get, down this deep in. I wanted to ask you about the fact that we're watching collusion and corruption on a massive scale in Washington, D.C. Have you ever seen the like?
No, I'll certainly confer on that. I think the basic. First of all, I'd be against Homeland Security running national elections in this country. This has been a state right forever, and you'd have to do a constitutional amendment, which takes 3/4 of the Congress, 3/4 of the states to vote for that, and 2/3 of the Congress. That isn't going to happen. So you got to fix it at the state level and the county level. That's what I would argue we should do.
This becomes an academic level discussion. I like the more proximate, and that is, in point of fact, you have documents of interviews with federal Bureau of Investigation agents and officials in which they were being asked by Patrick Kennedy of the State Department for a quid pro quo. He was offering a bribe for key postings to various parts of the world. What do you make of it?
Well, I think if they could prove that, that's outrageous. And I think at the end of the day, when you get in there, this was a document I assume was in the subpoena to the Congress, and to try and alter that document is an obstruction of justice. That's totally separate difference, and I'm all for that. But I just think the key thing here of the drumbeat on making this election not legal is doing a great disservice to a lot of Americans who are going to go vote.
Okay,
win by a landslide. That's the key.
I think you're right about that, and I would suggest that and recommend it to any candidate following Ed Rollins' good advice and counsel. Ed, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.